four French drivers at the French Grand Prix trying to win this on the final lap. The three wide again, Guillaume down the inside. Guillaume moves across, they're both in front of Milan and Pouget.
Before you know it, we find ourselves here in the very final race of the competition.
And then they see truck racing and they think, this is crazy, you know, these are 5-ton machines, 1200 horsepower brake.
Oh, look at that switchback. Oh, he's been mugged and a drift to show off.
Back there, go on ball with Ben Gregory now, I love it. 10.5 minutes gone, Senna Lanson tries to go for the race lead.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Chaz Draycott Media, and welcome once again to the Chaz Draycott Media Formula One World Championship by F1Countdown.com, also sponsored by Abruzzi Racewear and Sim Racing Magazine, with support, of course, from Gilles Gardner and Morgan Butler with their wonderful Simtography as part of this great championship. My name is Chaz Draycott, and I'm delighted once again to be joined by the wonderful Ed May for what is going to be the penultimate round of the season. Quite frankly, Ed, I cannot believe we're already at the point where we're now talking about who's going to take the driver's crown and who's going to take the team's crown as well, with only 2 races left.
Yeah, time really does fly, doesn't it, Chaz? It's been a wonderful season so far in this Formula One Championship. We've had some amazing results over the past few weeks. We come to another venue where we've seen such great racing last time out. It was a venue where the driver that is, well, certainly in the driver's seat for the championship won last time out and is going to be looking to seal his, well, historic double, won't he, with a victory here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Cam Dance leads the championship on 99 points at present from Jake Cranstone. 16 points between them is the maximum amount you can get from a race meeting. So if Cam comes away here tonight still with that points advantage or more, then basically he is champion. Cranstone has to finish ahead of him this evening to take the championship fight to Suzuka in a week's time. Pete Harrod is still within a mathematical chance of it, but unfortunately not here this evening. It's a real shame to see, but Pete's been great all season, and he's got quite a healthy gap over Sam Fitzpatrick, so I'm sure that those two will have a great scrap come the season end. Looking at the team's championship as well, it's another one where it's almost predetermined. Williams Mechachrome could take this title this evening as long as they outscore McLaren. McLaren basically just need to beat them by 11 points this evening, which isn't really going to be possible. We do have both McLaren drivers here tonight. They're both on form as well, so it's looking like quite the feisty couple of final races certainly coming our way, and we're all excited to see how they get on. And to be honest, Ed, I'm quite excited to see how this man does in the final two races. Sam Fitzpatrick has promised us a win this season, and he's been pushing and pushing and pushing. He was the one man that was really throwing it around at the previous race at Spa, and I'm honestly so excited to see what he's got for us in the bag in these last two races, because Williams, well, they need the points, don't they, to take that team's championship.
Yeah, I mean, they absolutely do, and like you say, he was really looking for that race victory, and I mean, if there is any round that any driver could win, well, it's going to be Monza, isn't it? The slipstream has certainly given us some entertaining races in both the Formula 1, but also in various other sort of formulas and categories that we've had the pleasure of commentating on our time on iRacing. One thing I want to also bring to everyone's attention as well is the track limits. We've sort of told the drivers to be sensible with it. Then they're coming down the start-finish straight. We're going to see on board Simon Price exactly what we mean. On the right-hand side, iRacing classes the areas over the white line as still part of the racing surface, but because we want the broadcast to at least look somewhat realistic, we are asking the drivers to not stray too far over the white line. I think they can have a couple of wheels over, but not really any more than that.
Yeah, they're basically asked to just keep at least 2 wheels over that line, if possible as well. And if they are going for an overtaking manoeuvre, we just ask that if the opportunity comes that they can go down the inside on the right, that they don't, and they basically choose to go over on the left. Here's Mike Murphy, and returnee Tom Minot comes back to the championship again tonight. It's great to see Tom. He's had a couple of weeks out, and look at him already with the flamboyance in that gorgeous black arrows. I love the arrows, Yamaha. His teammate Stuart Clark up there in 8th place at the moment, and there is a driver change to speak of as well. Unfortunately, Tim Perry has made the decision to step away from the championship, but of course we wish Tim all the best, and his vacant seat at Ferrari has been taken for Jesper Eriksson for the final 2 rounds of the season. Jesper obviously very quick for Benetton and has made the step up to Ferrari. He's over the moon to be racing in the Scarlet bodywork, of course, for this final pair of races. And we're excited to see whether he can get that first win of the season for Ferrari. But then again, Ed, his teammate's not doing too badly at all at the moment. Kevin Zemstra at the home of the Tifosi, fastest in this session. Oh dear. For God's sake.
Well, the Tifosi won't be pleased with that, will they? The
No.
McLaren and Ferrari coming together. Second as well out there on the road, so that's going to be interesting to say the least. If that might have a sign of things to come potentially in the race. That will be starting after qualifying. Like you say, though, pace of Cranston and Zemstra, especially with the Cranston, shows that there could still be life in the championship yet. We are, of course, waiting for Cam Dance to make his appearance onto the circuit. Obviously, as well, earlier on this season, we did have actually Jake Cranston, I think, missed one of the rounds of the championship. Of course, Cam Dance has made it to, I think, every round, so maybe Jake might be left wondering what could have happened if he was here until the very end, because it certainly would take the championship that little bit closer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's great to see that there has been such a fight at the top. Obviously, Cam in the first season was unstoppable pretty much in most forms, but he was really good to watch in terms of his consistency throughout the season, and that's obviously what won him the championship, as well as the fact that he's won so many races. Jake Cranstone now has 3 race wins to his name, only the second driver ever to win more than 1 race in the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship. And another one to look at in terms of the team's championship points is the battle between Minardi, Tyrrell, and even Prost as well, because we have neither of the Prost drivers here tonight. Martin Kenyon is at a gig, and we hope he has a fantastic evening. And unfortunately, John Tusting is unwell, so we wish John the quickest of recoveries, and obviously hope to see him back out on track again very, very soon. We've got 18 drivers now joined the session of the original 22 we were supposed to have, as Sam Fitzpatrick goes fastest after a bit of slipstream from Jack Stiles, his good friend. I'm just wondering who the other drivers are that we don't have right now, actually. Although there is no teammate for Ben Hoffman, actually, is there, at Benetton anymore? So, yeah, it seems that with that addition, yeah, we are actually up to the max numbers that we're going to get this evening, which will be the 18 cars of the 22. Look at these pair. These two, Sam Fitzpatrick and Jack Stiles, are the pair responsible, I'm going to say, for the Fitzstye Motorsport team, which eventually became Orbit Motorsport. And they're still very good friends and very close competitors, interlocking wheels into the De La Rossi
sending
chicane.
each other into orbit there.
Absolutely. But this is the fun the drivers can have with practice. It's only going to end in another 5 seconds or so, but this is great fun to watch. And, you know, even these little moments like this, Ed, this could unlock something within yourself as a driver to know when you can attack, when you can't, when you might overdo it. It's all important in practice.
Oh, yeah, it's perfect for the drivers to get accustomed to how they'll race one another when it comes down to it, when the green flag drops. Of course, before all of that, qualifying will be in the one-shot affair here in Monza, and there are a few areas where it's quite easy, isn't it, Chaz, to pick up some incident points around here. I know it's particularly around the, the exit of the second Lesmo.
Yeah, for sure. You can run a little bit too wide over the left-hand AstroTurf over there. It's over a bit of a crest, so it can be quite difficult to get that absolutely spot on. As we now wait for the first of our cars to come out of the pit lane, just looking at the championship standings to see who that should be. And Rob Lundgren should be the first car out, followed by Simon Price. Rob is now on his way out of the pit lane. There he is. Gradually getting moving in the Minardi. I'm not quite sure what the situation is there. He seems to be...
we're waiting for... I think it's supposed to be Michael Jones, isn't it? I think.
Yes, it is. Apologies. I didn't see that Michael Jones had joined there. Apologies. Sorry, Michael. But yeah, Michael Jones, then Rob Lundgren. Then it'll be Simon Price after that, and then Toby Ward joining on from then. So Michael Jones leads out of the pit lane. Rob Lundgren will take it easy behind, and then he will start his part of the session as well. One of the key details of this championship and with these liveries is the fact that the Tyrrells have their car numbers on the airbox with different colours for their drivers. So we have, obviously, Michael Jones with the orange number 93 and his teammate Simon Price with the lime green number 64. Michael's taking his time here on the outlap. He's got no need to, because he's got Rob Lundgren that needs to take it easy behind him. Michael just putting a bit of heat into the tyres. In terms of the weather here at Monza, it's not that hot. 36 degrees on the track temperature, 20 degrees air temperature. So nothing like what we saw last night, Ed, in the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge, where I think at the end of qualifying we had track temperatures of 54 degrees Celsius, didn't we?
Yeah, I think something ridiculous like that. It was absolutely sweltering out there. But thankfully here in Italy, the virtual Italy at least, it's a little bit cooler for the drivers. I mean, obviously... I think they don't actually have a chance to take tyres in this. They are not really a factor. But maybe if it was that hot, we might be seeing tyres actually coming on for this at the first time in these little Pro Mazdas. Michael Jones just doing a little bit of tyre warm-up, and that's going to be so important around here because there aren't too many corners to properly work heat. So all the way down the straights while the drivers are on their outlaps, there's going to be... well, I think maybe a little bit of weaving from some of the drivers later on in the session just to get the tyres into that window as best they can.
Yeah,
whoa, who's that way up in the background? Rob Lundgren, he's doing a little bit of grass cutting, a bit of rallycross there. Close to the wall, actually, as well, so did well to recover. I hope that hasn't damaged the floor at all.
Fingers crossed for Rob. As across the line goes Michael Jones. There is that white line on the right-hand side that we mentioned. As you see there, Michael just kissed it with the right-hand wheels. That's absolutely fine. I'd say really anything when you're on your own like this, up to having the centre line of the car onto that line is probably acceptable, because then you're not really taking the mick. Hard onto the brakes. Obviously, these cars do about 146 miles an hour into first corner, so it's not really like a big, heavy GT3 car either. They barely weigh anything, these cars, so you can brake very, very late in them. Now down towards Curva Grande. Feels like it takes an absolute age in this car, I have to tell you. Because you get to that high speed and the top end of the car so quickly. Just reaching 140 miles an hour now before braking into the Della Roggia. But again, look how late you can brake. Just glide the car in one way then the other. They don't like curbs, these things, so the drivers need to be careful of that tonight, because there's a few of them, especially at the Della Roggia chicane and at Ascari, that will really bite them in the backside. And corners like that as well, to be fair, Ed, that we've just seen Michael go around now at the first of the Lesmos. That is an absolute nightmare of a corner in this car, because it's one that likes to over-rotate mid-corner, isn't it?
Yeah, you do take a lot of speed, especially into that first Lesmo, and you've got to put some decent steering lock on, and that is this car's worst nightmare. Again, into Ascari, you do just go right the way out, and then you have to cut in over the curves. He's, well, not at all over the curves, is he? Steering well clear of them. I think, though, especially into the first and second chicanes, the Della Roggia, that's going to be one where the drivers will be maybe pushing a bit too hard in qualifying and maybe overstepping the boundaries and getting those 1x incident limits, and therefore invalidating their one-shot pole position. Again, wide out of that final bend is another one where the drivers can be, well, caught napping, shall we say, in terms of the track limits. But Michael Jones over the line does set a valid lap time. It's 1:51.1.
Is indeed. Decent benchmark there by Michael Jones in the Tyrrell. They're up against Minardi in terms of the team's championship points as well. Just 4 points between them. As there goes Rob Lundgren, only a slight bit quicker as well. 27 thousandths of a second by Rob Lundgren. That puts him on provisional pole position in the Minardi Ford for now. But then behind him is the other of the Tyrrells, Simon Price, just starting his lap. They've really spaced that out well, actually, of the guys, to be honest. We've got Nico Minardi and John Roberts, the next two cars out. I still can't believe Nico is that far down in the championship. He's really not had good luck this season. He's got 9 points to his name. He was obviously involved in the incident with Tim Perry last week when the two of them sort of magnetised towards each other as they came down towards Blanchimont, locked wheels, and there was a colossal hit into the barriers. But Simon Price, he's been enjoying himself so far this season. He's got 2 championship points to his name. He's been making a lot of jokes about Ken Tyrrell and the fact that obviously Ken is virtually managing the team still, and he was saying this week that he thinks the Italian heat has got to Ken because he keeps asking him what a cappuccino is. Just all these sorts of things that we just warble on about in Discord. He's a very funny bloke, is Simon, and he's honestly been getting quicker and quicker all of the time. We've got Toby Ward joining him on a hot lap as well at the moment in the Stewart Ford. Toby also, I believe, on 2 championship points. Yes, he is. Rob Lundgren, Simon Price and Toby Ward all tied on points. But it's a purple first sector for Simon, which is the important talking point here, Ed. So he's on fire at the start of the lap. No improvement in the middle, though.
No, and it's quite interesting because usually Simon Price has got a little bit of pace about him. So maybe just, again, pushing a little bit too hard, struggling with the tyres. They're not doing what he wants, so he loses that a little bit of confidence in the car. Now, I say into this final bend, brake late, chuck the car in.
Ooh.
Look at that, you can see it's trying to break away, but that's exactly how you have to drive it properly.
Yeah.
Just throw it at the corners and hope it sticks, and you can tell the tyres, they weren't quite ready to play ball with him.
Absolutely not. Toby Ward's done a purple 4th sector. Does Simon Price get pole? He does, by exactly half a second over Rob Lundgren. Great time that is by Simon Price. Lovely improvement in the Tyrrell. He'll be over the moon with that one. Sneaking up from behind the bridge is Toby Ward in car 66. Purple final sector for him. Is it pole position? Yes, it is, by 0.2 of a second. So Toby Ward instantly dethrones Simon Price. But great stuff by both of those drivers to put themselves on the provisional front row of said grid. Next up, though, in the background is another one of the Minardis now. John Roberts currently finds himself in 17th place in the championship, 4 points to his name, tied with Martin Kenyon, who unfortunately isn't here this evening. Great to see you all in the YouTube chat as well. I can see you all. Crimson's in there, Lewis Ward even, Sean Gardner, Rob Lundgren's been in there too, Jakob Szymanski, and Jesper Eriksson even contributing once again to the chat. Actually, Crimson as well saying Eriksson makes for the best post-race interviews. He is a treasure, and he absolutely is, Ed. We've spoken to him a couple of times now, and he's just loving it, isn't he? He's adoring being a part of this championship.
Yeah, I mean, why not? It's a great championship to be a part of. All of the drivers, they do like to have a bit of friendly rivalry with one another, but that's exactly where it sort of stops, isn't it? At the end of it doesn't go any more than that. It's always just about having fun, being friends at the end of the day. They can have some disagreements when they're out on the circuit, but
Yeah, sure.
it's never any worse.
No,
which is what you love to see, and we have that as well with the Sim Racing magazine. It's a real breath of fresh air here on Chaz Drake Media. That's wide of the mark, and I think that could be Nico Minardi yet again with an invalid lap in qualifying.
I'd be absolutely devastated for him because it's 2 purple sectors so far. He's still loving being a part of it, as Nico, and he was saying last week, even after the race when he was obviously frustrated at the incident that had happened, he was saying that he was loving how respectful everybody is and the camaraderie between them all as well, and he's been really big in the championship up to a lot of other communities and Discord servers that he's in, and it's wonderful to hear it, honestly. Him and the guys that have come over from Circuit Superstars, Nico, Mike Murphy and Ben Chalcraft, are all really very welcome in this championship, and they are certainly loving it. He's done 4 purple sectors now as Nico, which does tell me that he's decided to carry on with it and crack on, maybe just as a representation of his pace if he has invalidated it. John Roberts goes right up to the white line. Where does that put him? Second place on the grid, just 0.17 of a second off for John Roberts. Another time is all purple by Nico Minardi, and no, it does not count towards it. That is devastating stuff for Nico, because it's an all-purple lap as well. Obviously, it doesn't even come through on my timing screen as to what the lap would have been had it have been a valid one. So we can only wonder for Nico Minardi. I'm not sure if you want to do some maths, Ed, and add all the sector times up.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
I don't think I can.
No, I can't. I don't know if I can be bothered, to be honest. But
No.
Tom Minot across the line. I'm excited to see what Tom does. He's been out for a few weeks, but he's back with us now in the Arrows, in the all-black car with the all-black lid, looking very stealthy. There's nothing stealthy about his driving. He's very exciting and flamboyant. I think he's got a very good time in him here. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait exactly and to find out. Like you say, the Arrows Yamahas have been going very good, and Tom Minot, certainly no slouch behind the wheel, exactly knows how to turn it on over just the space of however long a lap is around here, 1 minute 50. Look at that, really nicely over the curbs, carrying a lot of speed at the apex, the critical thing to have through these chicanes, then down into the first Lesmo again, kisses the curb, gets on the power.
Nice.
A little bit late, but careful not to run wide, so that was a good job through there to keep it within the lines. Could have taken a bit more in towards the second Lesmo. I think we'll see a lot of the later drivers properly throwing it through, but still, it's so critical to not make mistakes and to get the times on the board. While it is a circuit with slipstream and you can make up positions, it's always better to sort of leave no doubts as to what you could have done in qualifying. So just keep it within the bounds of the circuit and get a time on the board to at least be up in, say, the top half is where I think a lot of the drivers will be trying to aim for.
Ben Chalcraft here, the lone Jordan for this evening, trying to do proud the yellow buzzing Hornets. As Pete Harrod is not here for this evening, he's done a purple middle sector as Ben Chalcraft, so lovely stuff from him so far. Let's see what Tom Minot can do, though. It doesn't look like a shabby lap either, looking at the sector times. He's a little bit quicker than Ben Chalcraft in certain places. Let's see. Across the line he goes, and Tom Minot does go top, and it's nearly half a second as well to the good, so great stuff by Tom. Welcome back, Sunshine. Great to have you back behind the wheel of the Arrows. No purple sectors anywhere, really, but just a very consistent lap. Obviously, it might not have shown purple if he wasn't beating Nico Minardi's time. Chalcraft tightens up the line on the exit of the final corner after running wide on the way in. Ed, what do you reckon?
I reckon this could be close. I think he's just about fine. We'll see when he comes up to the line. Is it enough for pole position? Yes, it is. 0.2 of a second. A very nice lap time there by Ben Chalcraft in the Jordan Mugen Honda. And now we'll go to Tom Minot's teammate, Stuart Clark in the Arrows Yamaha, who's getting ready to start his next flying lap. Or his one and only flying lap. I keep saying next flying lap. They only get one.
I've just had a message off Nico Minardi. Thank you to Nico, and obviously commiserations on not completing the lap. He said it was a 1 minute 49.1 that he did.
God.
So he would have still been on pole by 0.6 of a second if it would have gone through. Oh, Nico. But we've got the excitement of watching him come through from the back of the field here, because I think it's going to be great because of the slipstreaming around here. Nico's racecraft will really shine at this sort of circuit and at this event, so I'm excited for that. I'm also excited to see what these two drivers can do. They're two of the guys that have really popped up and scored some great results as the season has gone on. Let's not forget Mike Murphy finished third in the very first race of the championship back at that horrendous place called Winton. in the Sauber Petronas.
God.
Stuart Clark has had a good season as well. He's had some great results. He sort of turned his pace on halfway through the season, didn't he? Because admittedly, he struggled a little bit in pre-season testing, but now he's got more time to, well, now he's spent more time getting used to the car and getting quicker. He's really been up there all the time. It's lovely to see it. Great improvements by Stuart, and it seems like this session at the moment is pretty good as well. He's not far off the fastest times through the first sector.
Keeping the pace up, obviously. Good to be up around those top drivers like Simtography. If you can set up maybe in between first and second, that'd be good for his chances. Obviously, he wants to be around his teammate. The two Arrows drivers have had a few moments where they've maybe had a few collisions. I think I remember Interlagos, wasn't it, where we saw some dramas between the pair of them. The Brazilian Grand Prix, the second round of the championship, where there was some fights between them. Hopefully, we don't see that here tonight, but still. Good pace currently for Stuart Clark, but maybe not enough to get onto the provisional top step.
We'll have to keep our eyes peeled and see how he does. He goes around the final corner now. I still call it Parabolica. It is now Curva de Alboreto, as he keeps it nice and tight to the inside, actually. It's interesting to see everybody's different lines around there and what they think is quicker, although it clearly works for him. He's on a purple final sector and does go fastest. Wow, the Arrows goes quicker than the Jordan, and it is pole position for Stuart Clark by 75 thousandths of a second. Great job. Mike Murphy now crosses the line, replaces that purple final sector, and he goes faster by 3/10. Wow, the times are tumbling here at Monza. That is a fantastic time by Mike Murphy. Very well done. And now, unbelievably, we come to this man so early on in the session. I say early on, we're over halfway through, but Silas Craig-Vrolick, the fastest man in pre-season testing. He's really had poor luck again this season. He's 9th in the championship, 2 podiums, 34 points to the 99 of Cam Dance. It's not been the season Silas would have wanted. I'm really hoping for him to get a strong result this evening, and McLaren need it for their championship.
Yeah, too many times have we uttered the words Silas or spin, crash, vomit, haven't we? Sadly, for the driver who, like you say, was the fastest of the bunch in pre-season, but maybe here at the fastest circuit on the calendar, he'll be able to rekindle some of that early, well, even pre-season form for Mercedes. Both himself and Jake Cranston are very capable drivers. I mean, they were part of the first ever 1-2 finish at Interlagos, weren't they? So there's still that spark, I think, in Silas. It's just about unlocking it.
Yeah, it really is. And Stuart Clark, like we've said before, finding the pace in the car on the third lap, which is their in-lap in this session. The car is at its fastest after about 2.5 laps on the tyres. So Stuart has now found that pace on his way into the pits. Unfortunately, it won't be a valid time that will count towards his position. As he heads into the pits, Mike Murphy will follow him. This is Jack Stiles in the number 59 Stuart Ford. He's next up to make his way into Ascari. Look at the way these cars pitch in. You're absolutely right before, though, Ed. It does a four-wheel drift when you throw it in hard enough, and you have to realise when the car is going to carry on rotating and when it's going to sort of catch itself and not over-rotate. It's a bit of a pig like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it can use the downforce to sort of help to recover it, and other times the downforce actually causes it to spin, but we'll see now with Silas over the line. Enough for pole position. Nice. 0.2 of a second, 1:49.1. Well, that's the time that was theoretically there by Nico Minardi. So regardless, Craig-Vrolick would be on provisional pole position. Jack Stiles over the line, goes second fastest. And look at that, only just that little bit quicker than Mike Murphy.
Yeah, 16 thousandths of a second he beat Mike Murphy by. So very, very good stuff from him. And next up, Tifosi rejoice, because it's the two Ferraris now. Kevin Zemstra next up. And Jesper Eriksson has had that much of a good season. Don't forget that Jesper only joined us a couple of rounds in. Jesper is ahead of Kevin in the championship already after, I think, missing 4 rounds less. That just shows you how well Jesper has been doing in this car. We've got the two Ferraris, though, on track together, which is great. Kevin very happy to have his new teammate as well. I did ask him. I made sure that, Kevin was happy to have a new teammate before everything went ahead and the change happened. And I said, are you happy for Jesper to make the change to Ferrari? And he said, why wouldn't I be? he was like, have you seen his driving? So, yeah. And like I say, we wish Tim Perry all the best as well in his future endeavours. And don't forget to check out Tim's YouTube channel as well, TP Sim Racing. He does a lot of product reviews and covers a lot of his racing as well. He's done videos of his racing within the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship as well. So make sure you check out Tim. He's been a great supporter of my channels and my series and all sorts for a long, long time. And it would be unfair of me to not give that back to him. Jesper Eriksson, not purple in the first sector at the moment.
I think he's going to just unlock that a little bit more, though. You can see the lines he's taking are very good, and he isn't far off of the times, actually, that he would have needed. So it's looking good at the moment for Jesper Eriksson. Kevin Zemstra purple in the first sector. But then Jesper Eriksson took a little bit of time out of him in the second sector. Now into the third sector, we're going to wait for Jesper Eriksson's time to come through. A little bit off the mark, so Kevin Zemstra looks to be the driver to maybe take pole position in front of the Tifosi. All coming down to this, the final corner, and he takes a lot of speed in, but the car, it seems really nice and stable and planted for him as he powers down up to the line. Will this be enough for pole position in front of his home crowd for the Ferrari? And it will be up onto provisional pole position for Kevin Zemstra by quite some way as well, 0.2 of a second. But what can Jesper Eriksson do? No purple sectors at all, but is the lap altogether more rounded out and complete?
Oh,
no, it isn't.
Not quite.
But it's still a front row lockout for the Ferraris.
Excellent stuff. Really excellent that by Jesper Eriksson and Kevin Zemstra. Maybe a little bit of pressure getting to Jesper now. He's racing in what my good friend Tom Jacobs calls the Scarlet bodywork. You never know. But still, great stuff from those two, representing the virtual form, of course, of Ferrari well at the moment. And now we come on to two other drivers that have been great athletes in this championship, it has to be said. And I say athlete because they've really thrown themselves at it. Ben Hoffman and Sam Fitzpatrick, two drivers that never fail to entertain. Some of Sam's final lap, let's call them shenanigans, in the last couple of rounds have been so, I want to say funny, but not in a detrimental way to Sam's driving. They've just been so entertaining, honestly. It's been really good to see. And Ben now flying the flag for Ben Eton. As he comes into the Della Roggia, really throws it in. The back end actually steps out a bit on the way in and on the way out. That's not going to help him much. Sam Fitzpatrick also without a purple sector in Sector 1. And after these guys, I don't think we've got many cars left. Only Cam Dance and then Jake Cranstone. Actually, Jake is already out on the circuit. And yeah, Cam is just making his way out now as well. Here he is just going down the pit lane. Oh my God, that made me jump. As we go back to Ben Hoffman. And to be fair, Ben's had iffy qualifying, hasn't he, this season? He's been very quick at some circuits and right up there, and he's stayed there throughout the race. But then other times he's found himself fighting through from further down. So you never really know what you're going to get with Ben. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, it's one that you think, is it going to be his day or not? It's very strange, but I think in the races, he has even worse luck, to be honest to him. He's had some great races, but then other ones where he's just fallen a little bit out of luck and out of favour. I think the Austrian Grand Prix was a perfect example of that, but we know he's got plenty of pace in him. And as he comes up to the line to set his qualifying time, only sixth fastest.
Yeah, sits between Mike Murphy and Stuart Clark. What about Sam Fitzpatrick in the Williams? He goes fourth, but look how close it is as well. 26 thousandths of a second behind Silas Krag-Vrolik. So Sam Fitzpatrick will be at best starting from fourth on the grid. And I think with the next two drivers ready to throw everything they've got at this for the final, well, the penultimate time this season, I'm not sure that Sam's going to stay there, unfortunately. Jake Cranstone, he's got a lot of work to do here to hold on. But he obviously just needs to finish ahead of Cam Dance this evening. That's going to be his main focus. Whether that is 5th and 6th or 1st and 2nd, I'm sure Jake will take it as long as he can finish ahead and take the championship fight down to the last round here. Don't forget we had 13 races in the 2022 season. We only have 10 this time round, and they're over the course of about 13 weeks as well. So there's obviously quite the difference in terms of how long the championship and how tiring it can be for drivers as well, because a lot more goes into it when it lasts that long. In terms of a length for the next season, I'm not sure yet, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But right now,
the turn in from Jake there was so aggressive. The car just jolted to the right, and it stuck with him as well. So that was a nice run through the first chicane for Jake Cranston. This could be a very good lap already if he can keep it all together. And look at that, exactly. Purple's first sector. He's pushing hard. Really big cut over the first of the sort of that complex. The Della Roggia chicane was absolutely rinsed there. If he was in between the track limits, that is again inch perfect.
And purple sector 2 as well. Green sector 1 from Cam Dance, but Cam doesn't need to push that hard tonight. He just needs to make sure that he's got the points. I know that he will want to obviously wrap it up as early as he can, because then he can go into Suzuka and just enjoy the final round of the season. And he did that last season as well. He won the championship at Monza, and then when it came to the last round, he won the last race of the season as well. So yeah, we know that Cam's always got it in him, and we'll have to see how he copes in the last couple of races. Jake Cranstone does a purple sector 3, which is intriguing. So he's not the fastest through there, but I think that just the pace overall through those first and second sectors will be enough at the moment, even if these next ones aren't purple. That's not even green, that next sector, so maybe pushing a little bit too hard here, Ed. Let's see.
I think he's just about got it, though, because that first and second chicane was absolutely blistering. He's got a lot of time that can be made through those points, and I think he's done exactly that. A couple of wheels over the white line, that's still fine, and he goes pole by almost a tenth of a second. But what can Cam Dance do? He needs a really good final corner to have any chance of beating that lap time by the McLaren that breaks Tifosi hearts with that provisional pole position. But will it be the Williams Mechachrome car into pole? No, it won't be. We will have a Ferrari on the front row, as Cam Dance can only best Jesper Eriksson in 4th place to go into 3rd.
Well, very well done to Jake Cranstone. That's another pole position, and importantly, that is a championship point. So that means that he's closed the gap a little bit now. So he's got most of the job done, but he just needs to make sure that going into the race, he doesn't let that slide. Really good stuff, though, from Jake. And, I mean, to be fair, Ed, you called it straight away there. The way that he was behaving, the speed of that car through the first couple of chicanes, it looked like pole position pace immediately from the off. And, well, Jake Cranstone has done it again. Another pole position. Very well done.
It was just how the car just snapped to the right and seemed to stick with him. He must have done something to keep the tyres in good nick, or just had the confidence in the car that the others didn't, because it looked like it was on rails. A really nice lap time there by Jake Cranstone, and well, he's got the rewards for that with an excellent pole position. But of course, here at Monza, the only thing that really matters for is the extra point, because it's not going to have too big of an effect on who will be sitting at the top step at the end of the evening, because with the slipstream, he's going to get absolutely rinsed into turn 1.
It absolutely is. Hopefully no contact into turn 1 as well. It's way too easy to go late on the brakes into there and not compromise enough. But we'll have to wait and see, won't we? I think that's only his 2nd pole of the season, though. I thought he'd had more than that, but still. Jake Cranstone takes pole position at the Italian Grand Prix. Kevin Zemstra will join him on the front row, less than a tenth between the two of them. And then Cam Dance and Jesper Eriksson make a very exciting row 2. Silas Kragvrolic and Sam Fitzpatrick, watch out for those two in the first couple of laps, because from 5th and 6th, they could very easily get to the front early on. It's very close on row 4 as well. Jack Stiles just ahead of Mike Murphy, with Ben Hoffman and Stuart Clark rounding out the top 10. Then we have Ben Chalcraft in 11th and Tom Minot joining him on the 6th row. I don't know what word that was, sorry. Toby Ward 13th, John Roberts in 14th ahead of Simon Price and Rob Lundgren. And then Michael Jones and Nico Minardi with one of his now signature last to first challenges again this evening. So, warm-up is just underway now, everybody. So what we're going to do is just take a quick break here on Chaz Draycott Media. We're going to set the cameras to automatic. It's going to look at a bunch of cars and see what they're doing, and if there's going to be any accidents, it'll pick them up, so you're all very well entertained, while Ed May and I just take a quick 5-minute break. We'll be back with you very, very soon. Hello again, everybody. Chaz Draycott and Ed May here for the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship by F1Countdown.com. And we're here at Monza, just after qualifying for the 9th and penultimate round of Season 2. And we hope you're all having a wonderful evening so far and enjoying the virtual racing as well. We know that it's going to be an interesting Grand Prix, this one, because of the slipstreaming here, Ed. So much more for the drivers to think about, because once you lose that draft train at the front, it means a lot more here than at most other circuits, because, let's face it, we know that this championship involves a lot of slipstreaming no matter what. It's just the way the racing works in these cars. But I think here it's probably the most important time to get it right on the circuit, on this whole calendar.
Yeah, it's going to be a real treat, I think, isn't it? I mean, obviously we've had the qualifying, but I think we'll find that entire top 10 and probably the entire grid order just completely reshuffled after the first couple of laps because of how strong and potent the slipstream is. Won't be as strong as last season with the higher downforce setup. This is the, I think, medium downforce that the drivers will be running, but still it will be significant in these very high downforce and very high drag machines. Into the next 2 minutes, the drivers will be spending that time to get acquainted with the circuit, maybe get acquainted with one another, trying some passes, seeing where you can and can't overtake, knowing sort of the closing speeds into a lot of these chicanes when you're close to one another is going to be key to avoid incidents in the race. But who's your pick on, Chaz? Do you reckon that we might be wrapping up the title, or do you think it might go till the very next one, because it was quite some lap by Jake Cranston?
I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure. It's so difficult to judge. I think Jake could take another win, but we've seen so many of these drivers really manage the traffic so well all season, so it could go to anybody that would be in that top 5 or 6, I'd say. So I've not got a clue, to be honest with you. I just want to give a shout out as well to my friend Alex Burse, who is obviously hilarious. Alex has mentioned in the chat that my voice sounds familiar. He's a fireman in Nottinghamshire, and I swear your voice is on our safety videos. Alex is not a fireman in Nottinghamshire. However, one of the strangest and most unique gigs that I have at the moment, I know this is it's a massive when, but one of my unique gigs at the moment, thanks to the wonderful Andy Marston at Sim Racing Magazine, is that I am now the voiceover artist for the Nottinghamshire Fire and Rescue Service training material. I told Alex this today, and he found it hilarious, and yeah, wondered what it'd be like if one of said firemen from Nottinghamshire heard my voice. Just in case you're all wondering what the hell Alex was on about. Crimson as well saying maybe Chaz could remind everyone that only working smoke alarms save lives. They do, actually, yes, they do. As much as the beeping is annoying and you only tend to hear them on webcam websites in the background, they are very annoying. But obviously for a reason, because you should have a working smoke alarm, so you know exactly when you burn it. Okay. Oof. Well, Michael Jones was just reaching up there to test the fire alarm by the look of it. We're about to come to the end of the session, though, Ed, and quite frankly, to answer your question, mate, I don't know. I've not got a clue. What about you? Any thoughts?
I've got a feeling, that this could be what candidates didn't have the best qualifying. It doesn't matter to him, because in the races and on circuits like this, it suits him perfectly. He knows exactly when to push, when to hang back, when to give up a position, and when to properly take one and go for it. I think around here, it won't necessarily matter that he doesn't maybe have the pace over one lap in clear air. The fact he can play the slipstreaming game so well, it's going to suit him right down to the ground. So I'm thinking it might be settled here tonight.
Well, we will have to wait and see, won't we? The grid is forming very quickly, though, so we'll have to get through it. Jake Cranstone and Kevin Zemstra on the front row. Then it's Cam Dance and Jesper Eriksson on row 2. Silas Craig-Vrolic and Sam Fitzpatrick, row 3. Jack Stiles and Mike Murphy, 7th and 8th. Ben Hoffman is 9th, with Stuart Clark rounding out the top 10. Behind them, we have Ben Chalcraft and Tom Minot. Then it's going to be Toby Ward in 13th place. John Roberts is 14th, with Simon Price and Rob Lundgren on row 8. Behind them is Michael Jones and Nico Minardi at the back of the field, hoping to do another one of his last to first challenges. So, there's plenty to do here at this wonderful circuit here at Monza. You've got the 2 Ferraris on the right-hand side of the grid. They're looking wonderful as ever. But we're about to get things underway as round 9 of the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship by F1Countdown.com from Monza is underway, and it's another sluggish start from Jake Cranstone, and instantly Cam Dance is going to try and come through, but Kevin Zemstra has got the jump, stays all the way over to the right-hand side and holds on to the race lead. It's Zemstra from Dance, Craig-Vrolic as well flying through the middle of the field. What's he going to be able to do with it as Cam Dance stays on the inside line? Is everyone going to behave themselves in the mid-pack? It certainly looks like it at this point in time. No contact further down. Nico Minardi's gained 4 places off the start already. He's having a belter. Silas has gained 3 for McLaren. He wants to get those team championship points straight away here, Ed, and he wants to stop the Williams from getting them as well. He's going to protect his mate Kevin Zemstra if his life depends on it, or like his life depends on it. English Chaz.
Here he goes. There's Cam Dance up the inside, defending there from Jesper Eriksson, and there's contact. And oh my word, the 2 cars merge together. There's front wing damage there for Cam Dance. If he's got the meatball flag, which he almost certainly will, the car does not look healthy. He can come into the pits and get it repaired. He won't need to worry about making a second pit stop because this will count as his one mandatory run, even though it is before the 10-lap mark. But already it's gotten off to a catastrophic start for our championship leader.
Incredible stuff, and that happened right in front of Jake Cranstone as well. There was nothing really that Jesper Eriksson did wrong there. It was humongous netcode, I'm afraid, and it's one of the byproducts of Cam being all the way over in New Zealand when these races are on. It's not his fault, it's not Jesper's fault, it's not anybody's fault. It's just one of those things with online racing, I'm afraid. Nico Minardi has had a drama partway round his lap as well, so his great start was undermined by something. Not quite sure what's caused it. Into the chicane he goes. Nico did spin behind these guys. Oh, he just lost it himself, actually. But then he had another incident after that.
Oh, I think he was just... I think he touched the curb and it spins him around. We'll have a look when he tries to get back up and running. Bounces over the curb, then it comes back down and sort of sends him into another half spin as he's trying to recover. You can see now Eriksson and Dance into the pits. This will be their one and only pit stop being taken very early, which might throw a spanner in the works later on. They will have clear air to run into. Here's a look though on board with Jesper Eriksson. We'll get a good view of exactly how it all unfolded as he's up down on the inside.
Oh, look at that.
And that is horrendous netcode. That is just awful.
Can I just point something out? Let's just watch.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Lucky boy.
Oh my god, Jake Cranstone. That was his championship hopes right there. Oh my word. That sort of avoidance. Well, I mean, he's in second place now as Kevin Zemstra has dropped down to third, so it's McLaren's 1 and 2 ahead of the Ferrari. There's contact in the background and Tom Minot's off the road. Oh goodness me, he's still trying to save it. Oh my god, how did no one hit him there? Toby Ward as well, just missing him. Wow.
That is terrifying.
Wow, that was...
How on earth was Toby Ward able to get away with that one?
I think...
Look at it from his point of view.
I think Tom had a bit of a wobble on the exit and they came together. Or was it Toby? No, Toby's a bit sideways. Oh, just catches him and then watch this. Tom's having the moment of his life. Look at that. Toby Ward, take a bow. Wow. My God. I don't know where to look. There's a great racing going on here as well.
Looking at it from Toby's point of view, he's just thinking, are you done yet? Are you done? Can you not? Can you just chill for 1 second, please, while I'm just trying to drive here? All of this is going on. He's on one side of the circuit trying to avoid it, then moves to the other side of the circuit to get out of the way, and again that arrow's Yamaha just appears in front of him. Thankfully, there's no contact. Look at this though, 3 wide in towards the first chicane. And Chalcraft's got a great view of all of this, but doesn't really want to be a part of it if he can help it. Staying out of trouble. is the name of the game at this early stage of the race. Sadly, though, Jesper Eriksson did not get the memo, even though it was, of course, just some unfortunate netcode. Now, I wonder what this will do to the complexion of the race. Craig Frolic is out ahead and needs to be mindful of the lap times being done by by Cam Nance and Jesper Eriksson. Mainly because, of course, they will have clear air and won't need to really worry about battling each other. If Sias Craig Frolic defends his position too hard out in front, slows down the likes of Cranston and Zemstra, that leading pack, all of a sudden, Nance and Eriksson will be making up time hand over fist because they're in clear air.
Yeah, and they're probably going to work together here as well. I think Jesper doesn't really owe anything to Cam, but I think they both know what the game is here, being this far down on the pack. They're just going to maybe slipstream by each other when they get a chance on the straights. But yeah, we'll keep our eye on those two, because don't rule them out yet, everybody. They may have lost a bit of time in that incident, but yeah, there's not as much compromise needed on the brakes by either of those guys. Perfect scenario for the McLarens right now. They need to outscore Williams by 11 points. And at this current state, with having cars in first and in second positions, well, that's going to be a solid 17 points their way, while Williams, with Sam Fitzpatrick in 5th place, would only get 8. So they would take the championship fight to Suzuka with a 4-point buffer. Ben Hoffman, Mike Murphy and Stuart Clark all having a great ding-dong as well. 3 of the finest drivers from the championship this season, I have to say. They've been real kings of the midfield, without any disrespect, of course, to the drivers that we're on about. And I was just going to point out a moment ago, John Roberts and Rob Lundgren, until Ben Chalcraft got past John, both Minardis had gained 5 places each and got into the pits, as Toby Ward has now got into the pits. I'm not sure if he got a meatball flag as a result of the contact that he had, whether he had damage or something to the suspension, but Toby, unfortunately, has pulled over to one side there, so not quite sure what's gone on, as there's a move a bit further down. Clark around the outside of Hoffman. Very demanding move, that, by Stuart Clark. But this battle is just getting longer and longer. No, Rob Lundgren's off. He's off in the trees. He's come back on. Doesn't look like any major damage. You can see Nico Minardi there trying to recuperate as well. But just a little moment there for Rob. Easy to do that, though, Ed, isn't it, in this chicane? It's just a case of too much curb, probably.
We'll have a look and see.
Oh,
over-rotates on the way in as well to recover it and keep it out of the wall.
Yeah.
Importantly, I thought for a moment, because at the speed he went off, that it was going to be coming back with some damage, but great recovery to avoid the impact with the barrier. Now out in front, Craig Frolic setting the pace ahead of his teammate Jake Cranston. We might be seeing potentially another McLaren 1-2 finish if they're able to work together, of course, but the 2 Ferraris are up in the mix as well. The lone Williams as well, looking for its first race victory of the season. So it's still all to play for. A very exciting front 5. That was a big hit over the curbs there. The anti-cuts doing their job to, well, not really their job, but certainly to dissuade any more drivers from trying their luck. As look at the entire left-hand side of that car. It's just evaporated.
He's turned it into a flapjack, hasn't he? He just flung it in the air, flattened it on the floor, and all of a sudden it's in bits. As Mike Murphy and Stuart Clark got close together there, I thought there was going to be contact. How they didn't make contact there, I don't know, but all of them had to back up and get out of it. And now Ben Chalcraft has got a chance. As again, Stuart Clark and Ben Hoffman side by side battling for 6th position right now. The best of the rest outside of the top 5. The others have disappeared over the horizon, but these guys won't care. They're having a great scrap of it. You've just got to be so careful into the chicanes, haven't you, Ed? Really careful when not interlocking wheels in cars like this. Oh, dearie me,
that?
no.
Just with a tap of the gravel on the exit. Simon Price, well held, well recovered. Nico Minardi's going to take that extra position with no fuss. Up now 7 from the start of the race. Been very dramatic so far for Nico, the Austrian here. We'll have a look at his start to the race. He's been struggling with these a few times, hasn't he, Chaz? So we'll see. Oh, much nicer this time.
Love it.
Really clean.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that's naughty. That is naughty by Nico. Great stuff. Really, really good stuff there from the Sauber driver. Tries to go through the middle. He's going to probably back out of that one and keep it tidy. Yes, he does. Look how safe everybody is here. Look at the... I mean, there's a tiny touch there from Simon Price, but that is it. You know, it was just really tidy from everybody there. Great respect once again through everyone, and that's what you want to see. As now, change for the lead, Jake Cranstone and Silas Craig Frolic swapping round once again. The two McLarens kind of working together, but with Kevin Zemstra behind as well, there's going to be a lot of position swapping here. Kevin's not one to back out of a fight. Jake, look at that there, just putting his car on the inside to make sure that that's not where Kevin goes. As Hoffman moves over to defend the inside line from Stuart Clark. Stuart breaks early. We'll go on board with Chalcraft and see how this looks from his point of view, because look, he's trying to get the cutback and trying to get the run. It's gorgeously choreographed. Doesn't quite get the punch out of the corner that he would have wanted to get past Stuart Clark. Stuart's now going to get the slipstream from Mike Murphy. Ben's going to move over as far as he can to the right to try and get a bit for himself. John Roberts is just behind this as well, waiting to pounce as we go into a chicane again. We'll stay on board for this one, Ed, and see how it looks from here with these battles going on.
Yeah, here we go. Look at that. The arrow's darting up the inside of the Sauber. Really clean move that by Stuart Clark. Turned the defence into an attack, all with the slipstream of Mike Murphy. Really well done between all of them. They are fighting hard, but fighting clean as well, which is what you love to see. Looking at the difference between Cam Dance and Jesper Eriksson, actually, that gap is staying at around about 41 to 42 seconds. I think it was about 41 seconds. It's now just climbed up to 42, so they are dropping back a little bit from the race leaders, probably on account of the teamwork being done by the McLarens out front.
Yeah, absolutely. They need to just make sure that they're doing what they can do. At the end of the day, from that point of the race, they can only push and try and get back into the championship points. Nico Minardi has made a place past Rob Lundgren now, but that's surely going to change back round again. Which side's he going to go? Nico puts the car in the middle of the road. Rob goes to the right. Nico stays completely centre line. Simon Price tries to find a gap behind them as well, but he's going to back out of that one and watch what these pair do. Nico round the outside at Curva di Alboreto. Rob's running a little bit wide. Doesn't have all the room in the world to play with there, does Nico. But the two of them make it through nice and tidy. Now, this is the last point scoring place as well. So this will mean a lot to either of these drivers to make sure they get those extra ones on the board. As wheel-to-wheel contact, Simon Price sees a gap in the middle, decides that no, that would be mental. Or would it? Oh, Simon!
He knows it's mental. He's going for it.
Oh my
this is
God.
sketchy stuff. He's moving about quite a lot on the inside, and I think that was very smart there by Rob Lundgren, who wanted no part of that. But Simon Price, he takes a brave pull. He goes for the 3 wide and makes it work up into 11th place.
Just gonna not look at that for a bit. I need to lie down. Oh my God! That was not kosher with me. That, but fair play. And respect to the other guys as well. They opened the gap for him eventually when it all came to pot, as Nico's now gone back down the inside. This will be an epic battle, this, but we need to look to the front again, I'm afraid, because it could all change very quickly while we're not looking here. And once again, actually, Ed, we find Sam Fitzpatrick either 5th or 6th, holding on to the lead pack and just saving fuel here. He's just playing the game, isn't he, in this early stage? And then when it comes to the last couple of stages after the pit stop, that's when he gets all sendy. So this is a textbook performance by Sam Fitzpatrick so far, but he and Jack Styles are doing everything they need to, and I think the guys in front have realised that as well, haven't they?
Well, I mean, he has the ability to learn from the best. His teammate Cam Dance is an absolute master of managing the race, saving the fuel, staying in behind, and then pouncing at the very end. So you might see exactly that by Williams Becker Chrome driver, who is looking for, we'll repeat it again, his first ever victory in the Formula One World Championship. He's come close on more than a few occasions, but sadly, that top step has just been a little bit too elusive.
As Kevin Zemstra flies down the inside, Jack Styles looks down the inside of Jake Cranstone as well. Feel sorry for Jake in this scenario, really, because he's got to be so careful coming into these final couple of rounds, as it's nearly 3 wide behind. Stuart Clark is the one backing out of it. Hoffman's on the outside to become the inside for Mike Murphy. Oh, a little bit of contact on the exit. Stuart Clark's going to get the run. These things look and sound great coming out of that chicane, especially when they're in a chorus like this. 5 different manufacturers within this same group. John Roberts has got a view of this mad quartet in front, and to be honest, I think John's in a great place here because he can just sit behind and watch it all unfold, and if there is an accident, like there's probably going to be now, nearly, then he can just benefit from it if he's in the right place at the right time. Look, he doesn't even have to hit the curbs or anything, he can just take it easy. It's great.
Yes, it's just nice to sit back and watch all of the drama unfold ahead of you rather than being in the mix of it. John Roberts is going to be loving this, but again, good potential points on the board for Minardi. Should he be able to hang on? Of course, with the likes of Cam Dance, Jesper Eriksson not needing Christopher, was Incredibly sketchy there by Rob Lundgren. How did he hang on to that one? Yeah, indeed. I'm not going to let you finish whatever you were about to say there, because it might not be broadcastable. It certainly wouldn't have been broadcastable from the cockpit of Rob Lundgren.
Oh my God.
He would have been absolutely spitting feathers if that didn't come off cleanly, because that would have been a nightmarish incident to have.
There's been some drama here, I'm afraid. Ben Chalcraft has dropped down. Ben Hoffman and Mike Murphy were together in front of all of this. Chalcraft has gone in. Oh, and he's tightened up his line to avoid hitting Mike Murphy, and he's had to sit in the middle of the road while all these go past, or there would be cars going past, but I don't think he's lost too many places. Oh no, actually. Oh no. Oh no. Ben was trying to recover by the look of it. This is what happened. So he was getting out of the way. There was obviously a group of cars coming through. Like Nico's come through, so Ben's jumped off the road out of the way, and it's just got away from him. Then it's just gripped up, and he's been T-boned very hard by Simon Price. Wasn't really a lot he could do, but yeah.
And in an instant, the Formula Mazda looks a little bit more like a Formula V for a moment there, doesn't it? Not a very pretty sight to see the car in such a state after just a innocent little incident, really, wasn't it? It tried to get out of the way, and then the car grips up again, spits him across the circuit, and then it was just a matter of wrong place, wrong time, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, not really anything Ben could have done there. He jumped out of the way, doing the right thing to make sure he didn't hinder Nico. He obviously saw him just at the last moment, and then it was all about just trying to save the car from there. But as soon as two wheels got on the tarmac, it gripped up one way, and he was on the brakes to try and stop the thing, but unfortunately perfectly in the path of the car behind. Nico Minardi is now inside the top 10. He's gained 8 places since the start of this race. Rob Lundgren has now gained 5. Cam Dance is back into the championship point scoring positions. And in terms of other big movers, John Roberts has gained 5 places as well, so both Minardis going well this evening at the moment. He's now sitting behind Mike Murphy, and I know he'll be happy to stay there and absorb all of the lovely slipstream that the Sauber is going to give. But it's Kevin Zemstra at the front in the Ferrari now, ahead of the 2 McLarens. Then we've got the Stuart Ford of Jack Styles, or, well, we did have. Now it's Sam Fitzpatrick going down the inside in the Williams Mechachrome. He goes for a move on Jake as well. Jake gives him all the room as... Oh, he needs to give room on the exit as well. Sam suddenly turned it on now. Don't forget, they can pit any time after the end of lap 10, or they can pit as early as the end of lap 10. I think Sam's decided he's not fuel saving anymore. He's going to crack on, and he's trying to upset the rhythm of some of these guys.
Yeah, it might play into the hands of his teammate Cam Dance, who's been able to close that gap back down a little bit to the lead impact. You can see it now down to about 41.5 seconds. But as I say that, Jesper Eriksson then overtakes Cam Dance down on the back straight. So they're trying to work together, leapfrogging one another, which is the way to do it. But again, they can't get caught up doing it too often if it's going to slow them down. Just seeing though, Fitzpatrick, like you say, he's doing his best to try and upset the rhythm to put himself into positions that he wants to be in to score maximum points here with the race victory. Look at this. Jake Cranston, I think, won't be too fast as long as he's mainly ahead of his main rival Cam Dance.
No, absolutely. At this point, Cranstone finishing in 4th position would score 9 points to the 1 of Cam Dance, which would only mean 7 points between them going into the final round as Sam Fitzpatrick sends it on Silas Kragvrolik into Curva de Alboreto. And again, Sam's getting very feisty here. He might even block off the pit lane entry if Silas wanted to pit on this lap. Is Sam going to go over to the right and pit? No, he's not. He's actually carrying on. So he's just being a little whippersnapper right now with Sam Fitzpatrick. But this is exactly what we love to see from him. He's very entertaining. He's not going to do any bump drafting. Silas moves to the right. Says, look, you can have Kevin Slipstream. If you want to be that guy to go chasing after him, you can have it. Sam brakes a little bit early, then gets off the brakes again when he knows what the situation is in the braking zone, and gets back in behind. He's got a McLaren in front, a McLaren behind. Ben Hoffman and John Roberts are moving around. Both the Saubers coming in on the same lap, which is quite interesting. And they're not that far apart either, actually. Mike Murphy coming in, and then Nico Minardi coming in just behind as well. So nice flying formation from the Saubers at this point of the race. They're the first 2 drivers to take their scheduled pit stops. This top 5 have been Well, touch wood, Ed. They've been exemplary so far. Great driving between them all.
Dear, what
Good
have you
battling,
done?
but there we
What
go.
have you done now, Chaz? What
Yep.
have you just said?
I had to.
This is all going to come unravel now. You know what you're doing. You're trying to incite a little bit of drama and spice into this. I mean, it's going great if you're a member of the Tifosi with Kevin Zemstra leading the way in the Ferrari. We were saying that he's had some good pace about him. It's just about getting cleanest of races that haven't been there for him, but like, it could be one of those rare occasions, sadly, for Kevin Zemstra, where he's able to get everything just absolutely nailed. So far, he's building a gap quite comfortably to Silas Craig Frolic. Jake Cranston has gotten ahead of Sam Fitzpatrick throughout all of the battling in amongst this top 5, and now it's Jack Styles' turn just to sit at the very back of this train and I think be very patient to bide his time.
Yeah, Jack can sit there as long as he wants, just use that slipstream and enjoy the race for what it is at the moment, I guess. Let's see if any of them pit this time round. I think when they do pit, they'll all pit together, won't they? They'll just all react and try and stay within the train. They don't want laps without compromise. Although I suppose we've seen it before, haven't we, Ed? We've both commentated on this circuit quite a lot. When you aren't in the slipstream and you're on your own on an in-lap or even an out-lap from pitting, and you've not got to brake early like these guys are now into a chicane like this, then you can actually be quicker, even without the slipstream, if you've been braking hard enough. So, let's ready.
Oh.
I think we should be back now. I'm so
Hello?
sorry about that, everybody, but we should be back. Hopefully, still within the session. I'm hoping that it is, but no, it's unfortunately disconnected me. Are you there, Ed? Can you hear me?
I am. Yeah, I am here, so we can have Radio Ed May for a little bit if you want, Chaz, just to keep it going. I can try and disconnect for a second from our timing software while we sorting this all out.
Unbelievable.
And, get this back up and running.
I'm so sorry, everybody, but this is the first time it's happened since I've had fibre installed, and that is a terrifying prospect that these...
Here we go. Jake Cranston, Kevin Zemstra battling for the lead of the race in towards the final corner. Jake Cranston going for the lead now to set the pace here, Chaz. This is a very key moment of the race as the pit stops are certainly looming ever present on the horizon. Will Jake Cranston, after that overtake, decide to come in? No, he doesn't. But Kevin Zemstra and Silas Craig Frolic do dive in. So the McLaren leads from the Williams of Sam Fitzpatrick. Jack Styles in the Stewart staying in third place. Going to have to keep a watch on Kevin Zemstra and Silas Craig Frolic while they come into the pits and see where exactly Cam Dance and Jesper Eriksson are on the circuit. They've just stopped in their pit boxes now. And actually, Cam Dance and Jesper Eriksson are making their way in towards the final corner. When will they get up and running? They're starting to roll now, so they have built up a sizable gap to Cam Dance, who's just now made his way out of the final bend. So it'll be around about 7 or so seconds, 8 or so seconds gap, I think, between them, or maybe even more than that, actually, to be fair. Looks like it'll be about 8 seconds by the looks of things from Jesper Eriksson to Cam Dance. In front, actually, no, not Jesper Eriksson to Cam Dance. It's Jesper Eriksson to Silas Craig Frolic. 8 seconds there. So they've tried to catch up, Chaz, but it just hasn't quite worked out for them.
Yeah, they've done what they could do, I suppose, with the gap in the air and in the traffic. I'm so sorry about that, everybody. Honestly, I almost swore on air then because I'm absolutely raging about that, because it's been obviously a couple of years for me with those sorts of disconnections and issues and problems, and now fiber's in. Obviously, everyone raves about the reliability of it, but even for just a couple of seconds as it went down like that, that's not good. That really is not good. So I'm not very happy right now, but still, we've got a race to do.
So we've still got Radio Ed May on until we can get back into the session.
Oh, I'm back in the session now.
We're
Sorry,
back
Ed.
in now. Okay, so you can see that Jake Cranston is just coming through the final corner. And is he going to make his trip to the pits? No, he isn't responding to the earlier pit stops.
Wow. So no recognition of the fact that's even happened from these guys right now. Not even Sam Fitzpatrick or Jack Styles going in the pits. Ben Hoffman in the background also continuing on as well. That's about the limit of where we're happy with the white line being taken, what Ben's just done there. So that's, just so you know, there's a bit of a guideline. We've still got 8 laps left of the Italian Born Prix. I'm very excited to see where these two end up, but that 8-second gap in front is certainly not going to be easy to close down. This will just be damage limitation for these two drivers now, as Mike Murphy and John Roberts are still close together. Look at Nico Minardi there, prowling in the background, ready to get some points as well. He's in the final point-scoring place, as Kevin Zemstra and Silas Craig Frolic swap round once again as they continue on. Thank you very much for taking over there, Ed. Much appreciated. very quick thinking, and again, I really do appreciate that. But yeah, typically, Chaz's internet letting him down again, even at the finest of times. So that's scary, to say the least, from my end. But we'll hopefully figure out what caused it and be better. So
that's all right. So looking at this though, Chaz, as it stands in the championship, Jake Cranston is going to be taking a sizable chunk out of Cam Dance's lead.
Yeah, he is. I mean, Jake Cranstone, if he finishes where he is now, at least, obviously he would get the full 15 points for the win. Cam Dance, finishing in 7th place, would score 6 points. So it would be a 6-point gap between the two of them if it finished as is right now. Ben Chalcraft has unfortunately just had an issue and gone off the circuit and back into the pits again. So his night has got worse and worse, unfortunately for him. But I'm just intrigued to see when these guys will pit. Will it be now? No,
he's still carrying on.
I'm surprised the car's got enough fuel in it to do this many laps around Monza, to be honest with you, because it's 90% a flat-out circuit. But then again, these were some of the guys that were sat behind for a long time, especially Sam Fitzpatrick and Jack Stiles, as Ben Hoffman makes his way into the pit lane. You can see Ben Chalcraft's car just down there at the side, which is a real shame to see, because Ben, the only Jordan here tonight, holding up their honour. But now Zemstra...
look as well, just to see the lap times actually. When we get South Craig Frolic over the line with Kevin Zemstra, we're going to see what their lap times are like in clear air in comparison to Jake Cranston, just to know if they're gaining or losing out. South Craig Frolic getting a little bit there. That was his personal best of the race so far, about a 10th taken out. But Kevin Zemstra was a little bit off the mark, wasn't he? About a few tenths slower than Jake Cranston, who's leading. So it looks to me like Cranston might actually be slowly but surely extending his advantage in clear air once he makes the pit stops, but it's all down to having a quick run in and out of the pits.
Yeah, it's going to be so important, and making sure as well that even during the pit stop that you're as optimal as you can be, you know, braking as late as you dare on the way into the pits, not having contact and not having over-exuberant drivers behind. I mean, Sam Fitzpatrick is one of those exuberant drivers, so I'm not sure how confident I'd be. No disrespect, Sam, but I'm not sure how confident I'd be with Sam right behind me in a heavy braking zone pit exit, or pit entrance, I should say.
I think Sam is more grateful that he doesn't have Cam Dance behind him into a heavy braking zone. Cough, Catalonia.
Oh, dearie me. Dearie me. So, let's see now what they do, because surely they've got to pit this time around. 7 laps to go after this. They're going to hug the inside line. Jake Cranston making it very clear here that he is going to pit. Sam backing out nice and early. Jack Stiles is going to close up on the pair of them as well, and all three make their way into the pit lane. Long pit lane here at Monza, and Kevin Zemstra is going to be the next car behind them. So if we look roughly at where they are here, the number 1 on your screen, the faint one down the start-finish straight, is where Jake Cranstone is, and the number 4 is Kevin Zemstra. That's just been highlighted green now, and he is coming round the final corner with Silas Craig Vrolik in tow. 8.6 seconds back to Jesper Eriksson and Cam Dance. So still plenty could change here. We'll go on board with Silas Craig Vrolik. The guys are now leaving the pit lane, but obviously they have to get up to speed. I think these guys might have just lost out a bit of time there, you know, but look at the speed now from Silas. 147 miles an hour in this car, and it is Sam Fitzpatrick that leads the race from Jake Cranstone and Jack Stiles, as down the inside goes Craig Vrolik into 4th, but it's the Williams Mechachrome at the front. Amazing.
Here we go, Sam Fitzpatrick. He's going to have a real shift if he's to try and keep Jake Cranston in behind, who knows that this is a real chance to claw back this championship fight and keep it well and truly alive right until the bitter end. Cam Dance has had, well, certainly a race meeting to forget. He's trying to do the best that he can do. It's up into 6th place ahead of Jesper Eriksson. Jesper himself is going to be there fighting away, so Cam Dance could still lose out here a little bit more if he's to finish behind the Swede, who's been newly promoted into that Ferrari seat.
Yeah, it's his first race for Ferrari as well, so he's had to work very hard for this. Now, Marcus Hagman pointed out that these guys might not have put enough fuel in to make it to the end, but to be honest, one thing that I have to thank Jack Johns for as well, the previous commentator on the championship, was that in one of his leagues, he mentioned to me that they run obviously a fixed setup that puts a certain amount of fuel in the car for the start of the race, but you can then raise the limit of the fuel higher than that, so that if you even pit on lap 1, you can put enough into the end. So I imagine that Cam and Jesper would have both been savvy enough to do that. if not, we may see them having another stop each. Toby Ward has had a drama, I'm afraid. He's had a problem down here at the De La Roggia chicane. Just gone in. Oh, it's just rotated on him on the brakes there. And again, very easy to do that, Ed. We've seen a couple of drivers do that already this evening.
Yeah, it's been an area that catches the drivers out. It lures you into taking plenty of speed as Jake Cranston takes back the lead of the race from Sam Fitzpatrick. Jack Stiles in the Stuart Ford hanging on to third place as Oscar Frolic and Kevin Zemstra playing fourth and fifth. All the while, Jesper Eriksson and Cam Dance are trying to work together to close the gap down if at all possible, but in such a short space of time, it's looking increasingly more likely that they are going to have to be settling for 6th and 7th. Stuart Clark is battling away with Mike Murphy and John Roberts. An excellent race this for John and then Minardi to get some more points on the board for the Ford.
I'll tell you what, Stuart Clark and Mike Murphy need to get a room after this race. They've been glued to each other all race long. It's been fantastic to watch cars 22 and 23 in this one, the Sauber Petronas and the Arrows Yamaha. John Roberts will be loving this as well. He's in 11th place right now and having a solid drive for some more points here in the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship by F1Countdown.com. Great drive by Jack Stiles so far, this as well. Started 7th on the grid here, and he's on at the moment for a Stewart podium, which would be their first of the season, but with these guys around him, you never know what order they're going to finish in. I mean, Kevin might still win this race with Sam Fitzpatrick second and Jake Cranstone third. You never know. They've got traffic in front of them, which I believe is Simon Price in car number 64 in the Tyrrell. It is. Simon will move over to one side, I'm sure, and just shimmy on out of Jake Cranstone's way. He's going to figure out which side he wants to go on, then just maybe back out the throttle. And through he goes. And then behind them, the slipstreaming will begin. Now, Silas isn't going to wait around here for Jack to get on with this, because if that gap gets bigger, then none of them are going to get any slipstream. And they're not going to be able to do much. As Simon Price, oh, Simon's cut in front of the chicane. I would have thought he'd have completely backed out by then and got out of the way. But wow, that was a scary moment. That's the scariest, sort of second scary moment we've seen in the last couple of weeks with back market traffic. We had one at Daytona in the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge, didn't we, where a driver just slammed on the brakes in front of some of the leaders and left a big hole in the middle of the order. And luckily, quick thinking there by Jack Stiles and the guys to give each other enough room to negotiate around Simon Price there. But Simon could have easily backed out a lot earlier down that straight, I have to say. Don't mean to sound too harsh on it, but that could have been avoided very easily, that. And now look,
Simon Price is a driver that we've watched from his very early days in sim racing. Kevin Zemstra, Jack Stiles, they don't leave each other enough room. Jack Stiles wasn't really left with anywhere else to go, sadly. I think around the outside there, they were battling hard, but we'll have a look here. Kevin Zemstra on the inside. Jack Stiles affords him the space, but I don't think he gets that same luxury.
No, there's not really. I mean, it's minimum a car's width, but you can't push the limit in open wheelers like that, I'm afraid. Jack will be not too chuffed with that, but he's still in 5th place. It's just he's got a second and a half now to Jesper Eriksson and Cam Dance, so whether that's going to help those two out, we'll have to see. God, Cam is pushing round there. Really, really pushing. As we're about to go on to lap 19 of the Italian Ball Prix here in the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship by F1Countdown.com, sponsored also by Abruzzi Racewear and Sim Racing Magazine. Thanks also to Gilles Gardner and Morgan Butler for their wonderful Simtography services that they bring to the series. And thanks also to our lovely viewers and everybody watching at home. We really do hope you enjoy the championship. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and all that lovely stuff. Obviously, subscribing to Chaz Draycott Media, it's not just sim racing broadcast as well, but a lot of YouTube content. As still as Craig Frolic sends it up the inside of Sam Fitzpatrick. I don't think Sam expected that one, to be honest with you, but maybe they're going to try and work together to close back down with Jake.
Just about to say the same thing. I was about to say, actually, that Jake Cranston had the one car that he doesn't really want behind him at the moment, and it was Cam Dance's teammate, Sam Fitzpatrick, who was hungry for his first ever race victory. We know how good and quick Sam is, and that's the one thing that Sam probably didn't want to have right behind him, was that Williams. So, as Craig Frolic might have got the message, he might have been relayed that information, and say, can you please just, get between me and Sam, and maybe we can finish first and second, because now he has a little bit of a buffer to work with, and through the Lesmos, he's got the pace in the car to extend his advantage to over a second now, but it's going to be difficult to break the toe around here.
And look at this as well. Now Jack Stiles has been reeled in by these two, Jesper Eriksson and Cam Dance. hoping to get back into the top 5 positions, as I'm afraid John Roberts has had a drama. John Roberts has just got back up to speed, but he's had an issue down at the chicane. Not quite sure what's gone on here. He's had Mike Murphy next to him. The two of them go for the chicane. They're both leaving each other a load of room. Oh, John just loses the back end. He tightens up the initial turn in. Just bounces off the back. Nico Minardi goes through and says thanks very much. He's gained 7 spots now, as there is a move further up the order. Jesper Eriksson going past Jack Styles. Cam Dance also going past him. So the battling begins now with these guys once more. Cam flings the car in, back in front. Jack, obviously, team manager at Orbit. Cam, their star driver pretty much. So I'm not sure what the battling's going to be like there, but look at this. These guys are all starting to scrap amongst themselves now as well, as Kevin Zemstra's got involved. Kevin's found his way up into 2nd place at the moment. Him and Silas side by side on the brakes into the chicane. And Silas stays in front for now. Goodness me, that was close to contact. It is.
Cranston crucially has 2.5 seconds lead.
He does.
He's well outside the slipstream. This is his to lose.
It really is. I said Jake Cranstoun could take another win, but we never know in the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship. And we still don't know now. There's 2 laps left to go. That's like an age in this championship. As Kevin Zemstra goes back down the inside of Silas Craig Frolic into the chicane, into the Della Roggia, gets back in front in the Ferrari, puts a Ferrari into 2nd position. Still remaining on the podium, leaves Craig Frolic to fight off Sam Fitzpatrick behind. Sam backs out of it, says to him, look, I don't want to have a scrap with you. But the gap is already 0.7 of a second. Zemstra is able to really open it up. Cam dances up into 5th place, ahead of Jesper Eriksson and Jack Styles. Then behind them it's Hoffman and Clark and Murphy that round out the top 10. But right now, Zemstra's suddenly got himself in a great position as well. This is all changed now in the final couple of moments, but it's not what we expected, is it, Ed? I would have thought maybe a 5 or 6 car train for the front. Is Sam Fitzpatrick having to fuel save here? Has he underfueled the thing? Because he had a shorter stop, didn't he?
He did have a slight shorter stop, but I think he did a lot of fuel saving earlier on. Let's not forget, for a lot of this race, he was in 5th position, right behind 4 cars ahead of him. So he was able to save a lot of fuel. I think he's just keeping into the habit, saving and waiting right up until the very end. I can't imagine that he's made that sort of a mistake. I'm just keeping my eyes as well on the championship standings, and provisionally as it stands, it will be an 8-point deficit between Cam Dance to Jake Cranston, who will be still in 2nd place. And that's going to be very exciting for the late stages of the championship. How many points was it? A gap coming into this one, was it about 16 points, I think?
Yeah, 16 points basically.
So it's been halved.
Yeah, absolutely has, as Simon Price jumps out of the way of these boys at the first chicane. Jesper Eriksson now ahead of Cam Dance, ahead of Jack Styles. But yeah, I'm not sure what Sam Fitzpatrick's plan is, but then again, we know that you need to start from further back to get a massive slingshot on the car in front, so maybe that's what he's trying to do. The gap is now 3 seconds from these boys to race leader Jack Cranstoun. And if Silas finishes 2nd, it's going to be the 3rd ever 1-2 in the championship, and the 3rd 1-2 this season. The 2nd for McLaren, because Sam and his teammate Cam Dance got that 2nd 1-2 at the Canadian Boar Prix, where they really put one hand on the trophy. We'll have to try and do the points in terms of the teams championship as well, actually, Ed, because there's a lot of calculations to be done there.
Oh, God, too much.
I think there'd be, oh, God, I can't even think. So it'd be 4th and 6th for Cam and Sam. So that'd be, what, 16 points. So it would be 36 points for Williams, which would mean that they still win the championship tonight. McLaren need to outscore them by 11. So even if they get a 1-2, let's put it this way, they would need the Williams to be finishing 7th and 8th at best.
And that's not looking likely, is it, with Sam Fitzpatrick comfortably up in 4th.
Sorry, not even that,
Cam
actually.
Dance
Sorry, Ed. It would be
6th.
like 9th and 10th or 9th and 11th.
Yeah,
so it's not happening.
Williams seem to be comfortably able to wrap up the teams championship, but the drivers is still blown wide open thanks to this driver's performance here tonight. Jake Cranston, who has just 1 lap remaining before he can essentially cleave the gap down to Cam in half, essentially, maybe even more than that if Cam Dance isn't able to get up into 5th place. He's ahead of Jesper Eriksson, but that could all become undone. Might even find himself, if he finishes down in 7th place, Cam, if he loses 2 positions, the gap goes from being, I think, 8 points down to just 6.
Sam Fitzpatrick finding the gap down the inside of Kevin Zemstra. Not sure what it's going to be like into the chicane, though. Sam's trying to go around the outside and really demanding on the way into the chicane. How on earth did he get that stopped? That was an amazing move by Sam Fitzpatrick, but he's compromised himself on the exit. Doesn't quite get the run that Kevin does. Kevin backs out of it, tries to get a cut back out of the first of the Lesmos. That is an awesome bit of driving, though, and great respect by Kevin Zemstra to back out of it and say, look, if you want to throw it in like that, mate, you can do. Cam Danson, also Jesper Eriksson still fighting in the background. Mike Murphy and Stuart Clark still trying to write their wedding vows, but at the moment, Silas Krag-Vrolik is now having to defend for his life because he's got a crazy Sam Fitzpatrick behind him who wants more podium finishes, and he's down the inside into Ascari. He's got it done, but he's going to be in front now, giving the slipstream to the 2 cars behind him. We know pretty much that Jake Cranstone's got this wrapped up. 3.6 seconds.
Look at the run from Krag-Vrolik, and also look at the run coming out of the corner for Jesper Eriksson on Cam Dance. That could be pivotal for the championship as well. Look at them 3 abreast. Look at them weaving around in the background. It's all kicking off, and they always come to blows. Kevin Zemstra takes both of them into the final corners. Look at this. Jake Cranstone, this is huge for the championship and a statement race victory.
And to the line, there's going to be a dead heat. It's going to be Sam Fitzpatrick second, Kevin Zemstra third, and then fourth place going the way of Silas Krag-Vrolik. Cam Dance is going to finish behind, and Jesper Eriksson's been off the road. Jesper Eriksson has been off. There's been an actual moment between the two of them here. I'm really sorry, everybody. We did miss that. But yeah, the weaving, I mean, unnecessary to that point. But then, look, he knew when he got closer that it was okay to obviously stop weaving. It was the right thing to do. Jesper round the outside. Oh, there's not a big gap down the inside. Oh, and Cam's just run wide into him. I don't think there was much, again, either of them could have done there. Fantastic driving to keep it out of the wall, actually, that by Jesper. I'm not quite sure how he figured out the physics for that one. He lost out to Ben Hoffman. But just in front of that, look at Kevin Zemstra here. Fantastic driving that, Ed. What a finish.
The other two were just so preoccupied with each other that they forgot the little Ferrari darting up the inside. Excellent bit of positional awareness by Kevin Zemstra to take advantage, but then up to the line, the drive just wasn't quite there, and you can just see around the outside whipping him to the post.
Great stuff. Great formation flying, boys, and it was close as well behind Stuart Clark and Mike Murphy, actually. Let's have a look at their finish. So this is Stuart Clark trying to take Mike for 9th position. Jesper Eriksson eventually came home in 8th. Stuart sends it up the inside, gets in front into Curva di Alboreto, and I don't think Mike's got the run on the exit to do anything about it. He's got great slipstream once again. Nico, you could see, pushed it quite deep into the final corner. Nico Minardi, what a recovery that is to finish right behind his teammate. And again, very close across the line. Stuart Clark only just coming out on top there. But Jake Cranstone has taken the championship fight to Cam Dance. He's there somewhere, everybody. He's doing some donuts, but obviously not in the perfect of places, I'm afraid. There we go, we get to see him now. Jake Cranstone takes the race victory here at Monza, and that one is going to mean a lot when he really needed it. It's a massive shame what happened between Cam and Jesper early on, but you have to say they both recovered very well in the later stages of the race. Wow. Another absolute belter from the CDM Boremula 1 World Championship by F1Countdown.com. I am entertained. I hope you were all entertained as well. But I don't really know how other than to cap that off than give ourselves a moment with the results. Jake Cranstone wins. Can you believe that at Monza? 3.7 seconds to the good. Incredible. 16 thousandths between Sam Fitzpatrick, who takes another second place ahead of Kevin Zemstra. That's his second podium of the season and second podium on the bounce. Well done to Kevin. Really good drive. Silas Krag-Vrolik finishes in 4th, with Cam Dance getting all important points in 5th. I think the gap now, Ed, will be 8 points into the final round.
That's how I've worked it out to be.
Lovely.
8 points. The gap has been cleaved in half.
Thank you very much, mate. Jack Stiles, a great 6th place. Ben Hoffman, 7th. Jesper Eriksson, devastated, I'm sure, after that one in 8th, but he'll probably still be smiling. He's a lovely, happy boy. Stuart Clark and Mike Murphy, fantastic fight all race, decided by just 59 thousandths of a second at the line. Nico Minardi recovers and gets championship points. Very well done to Nico from the back of the grid and with a spin. And then John Roberts, more points for Minardi as well, finishing just ahead of his teammate Rob Lundgren, and by just ahead, I mean about 21 seconds. And then Toby Ward in 14th place, Simon Price 15th, Michael Jones 16th, and then the drivers that were more than a lap down, Ben Chalcraft and Tom Minot, unfortunately not finishing the race. Well, plenty to pick apart there, Ed, and unfortunately, obviously, we can't go all the way back to the start of the race because my internet decided to be an absolute cretin and disconnect me from the race earlier on, which I'm very sorry about, everybody. I know that is a real amateur hour, but there's not really anything I could have done about that. I've actually gone to a point where the race where I wasn't back in, so my bad. But we'll have a look and see who is ready for a chat. And, well, first things first, we need to come to the one that finished at the top of the pile. Jake, you must be over the moon with that one, mate. You really needed to do that tonight, and you've got it at the perfect time. Well done.
Yeah, I needed that. And yeah, I think a big thank you to Silas for helping me out at the end there.
Yeah, there was certainly looked like a bit of teamwork going on between the two McLarens. But talk to me about the sort of pressure of Monza and the slipstreaming around here, because it's so different to everything else on the calendar, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Although it is kind of similar to Spa last week, so we had a good idea of what was coming. I stuck with the plan that I went with last week, which seemed to work out for me, and that was to just save fuel and then try and be at the front for the end. And that seemed to work again, so not a bad tactic.
Not at all, and of course means a lot for the championship as well. And with no disrespect, a lot of us would come here to Monza thinking, oh, Cam Dance is going to wrap this up. We all know what he's like. But to come away from that with the championship lead in half now and just 8 points going into Suzuka, anything can happen, can't it?
It can, but it's Cam, so... I mean, how many wins does he have? Jesus.
It's
an uphill battle, but I'm ready to take it on.
Well, your second win on the bounce, mate, and of course the 7th podium appearance this season. You became the first driver other than Cam to win more than one race in this championship. You now have 4. Surely that must give you a lot of confidence still, and especially in your first season. Have you been enjoying it?
Yeah, it's been great fun. I'm really gutted that I missed that one round, because obviously I think I would have been right up there. It would have been a really tight, probably equal on points or something silly at the moment. So yeah, I mean, if I would have done all the rounds, maybe it would have been even tighter. But yeah, it's been a great season. I've really enjoyed it. It's been great fun with these cars, and yeah, it's just great fun, really.
Well, I'm really glad you're enjoying it, Jake, and obviously best of luck from both of us here going into the final round of the season. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we go this evening?
Yeah, shout out to Ellen, her parents, my mum, my grandparents will be watching tomorrow as well, and extra big shout out actually to Ellen's dad, Dave. I'm going to be racing out in his MGB at Donington, hopefully on Sunday, so that should be fun.
Cracking stuff. Well, I hope it goes well at Donny, and again, well done this evening, mate, and thank you very much for joining us in the box. Go and enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you at Suzuka.
Thanks, hi Ed, hi, bye.
Hello.
Lovely stuff. Jake Cranstone, completely, what can we say, elegant as ever in victory.
Yeah.
You know, very lovely bloke, and a very, very well-deserved win, I have to say, Ed. I mean, that margin as well, I mentioned it before, 3.7 seconds. That's not a gap that you usually see in this championship, let alone at Monza. He certainly got given a bit of done a favour there by the guys behind in the last stages.
Yeah, he was done a favour, but he still had to do the laps to pull that gap out, and he did a great job of doing exactly what he needed to do. I mean, that pole position lap time, we were saying it doesn't do a lot for him, but it certainly gave him the confidence to keep those lap times coming later on. Speaking of later on in the race, this driver that we were just about to speak to, Sam Fitzpatrick, was right in the thick of it, and just at the line, you managed to snatch P2. It wasn't obviously the race victory you've been hungry for, but still, that's got to get the pulse racing.
Yeah, considering that, I sort of messed that one up. I underfueled, unfortunately, so whilst I saved, I think, more fuel than anyone else in the first stint, I was still lacking about a litre coming out of the pit lane, so literally probably about 20 metres after the finish line, I started spluttering, so I had to back out for that. So considering that I messed that one up, I'm very happy, all things considered, because yeah, that was some battle and a really fair battle as well with Silas and Kevin at the end.
Yeah, it was just a few thousandths of a second that was separating the two of you. And just talk us through a lot of the early phase of that race when you were saving the fuel, sort of sitting in behind the battling cars. Was that maybe the plan from the get-go, was just to save as much fuel early on?
Yeah, that's sort of the only thing you can do. Like, it kind of just, it's never a negative thing. I mean, I've made the mistake earlier on in the season of not being aggressive enough and not pushing up, but it's so easy to overtake around the circuit, especially when everyone else is fuel saving. I sort of made a move for it on like lap 10, I think, and it was like by the end of like lap 11, I was like, oh, I could get into the lead here. Despite the fact that I wanted to really take the lead on about lap 14. So that was a little bit of a tricky one. So in hindsight, I could have probably saved a little bit more fuel in that first stint. But yeah, that was all good. And then, yeah, that second stint I was having to save. I was hoping I could maybe keep up with Jake while saving fuel, but he was too quick. And well, in the end, certainly Kevin and Silas gave me a helping hand with towing me to the line on those last few laps.
I'm sure as well that you are acutely aware of the Teams Championship, and tonight yourself and Cam Dance have secured the Teams Championship victory for Williams Megachrome. I know you said that was one of your goals for the season. How good does it feel to get it secured one round early?
It feels really good. I expect, you know, like when you work so hard for an achievement, and let's face it, I've sort of carried the team this season. I think it feels that much better because you feel like you've done that. And so, you know, I think Cam should feel happy as well. But like, I think he should acknowledge as well, and I think he will do, that he maybe hasn't won it as much as me. So I would say I've won the team's championship, and sure, Cam has I mean, on a technicality, he's won it as well. But it feels particularly good to win the team's championship myself. So yeah, really, I mean, thanks to Cam. I should give Cam a shout out. You know, I mean, I could have done it by myself, but you know, he was there as well. So big thanks to, well, I say thanks, acknowledgement to him, and you know, he's not a bad driver. He's not bad.
He's capable. Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
But, apt maybe is maybe a solid adjective to describe my Williams teammate.
Definitely. I mean, you did, of course, finish ahead of him, of course, here tonight onto the podium.
Yeah,
he is nowhere to be seen, so of course I can fully understand where you're coming from, mate.
Stop.
Congratulations, though, to yourself for all that you've done, and still one round to go. Do you think you can get that all-important race victory at the closing stage?
Yes, Suzuka's the best circuit in the world. I'd really like to win Suzuka. I plan to put more fuel in it next time, and I actually did like an hour of practice today. Like, it was unreal, and so I was like absolutely on the pace. So yeah, I feel confident going into that one, and if nothing else, it'll be, you know, I'll get some popcorn and watch the championship fight because it's down to 8 points. And I think it will be very entertaining.
Absolutely, you and me both, buddy. You and me both. Obviously, you've given your acknowledgements to your teammate. But is there anybody else you would like to acknowledge or shout out before we say goodbye to you, mate?
Of course, thanks to Apex Racing UK, Apex Racing Simulators for doing for offering these simulators, which are really cool. Thanks to you guys, of course, for presenting, and thanks to all the drivers, because I personally have very much enjoyed my time in the series, and I think the drivers has been very good, especially tonight. From where I was sitting, so yeah, thanks to all of them for making it fun every week.
Absolutely. Well, cheers very much, and we'll be hoping to see you get that top step finally at the last round of the championship, mate. See you then.
Thanks, guys.
I've only just stopped laughing. We need to move on quickly. We'll go very quickly on to Silas Krag-Rolik. Silas, very well done tonight, first of all. That looked intense at Monza once again. I mean, it was intense last time round, but this looked even more bonkers. Talk us through it.
I mean, I was going to try everything in my power to get Jake to extend or close his gap on Cam. And when Cam got spun round or net-coded in the first corner, I was like, all right, this is the moment. We just need to maximize the amount of drivers between Jake and Cam, and I mean, I think I succeeded decently in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
well, yeah. That's the thing. I mean, it's, you know, while you guys don't always come into a championship like this as teammates as such, you know, people get partnered together as teammates and they take it on very well. You know, people play the game, don't they? But to see that there is still work like that behind the scenes, it shows the sort of social aspect of this championship, doesn't it? Just how well people do get on and enjoy it together, and role play, let's say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it kind of is fun. I didn't really expect this at the beginning of this championship, even season 1. I mean, even there. I mean, I tried to try a bit with my teammate in season 1, but he wasn't really having it too much, to be fair. Now this season it's been a bit better, but yeah, I really like it. I mean, you kind of get forced with someone you don't really know, and it's up to you two to decide: do you want to really engage in the role play, or do you just want to engage with the people you usually drive with or your friends in this championship? I mean, I think Jake and I maybe had a bit of a rocky start at the beginning because we both wanted to drive for the championship, and with me being completely out of the championship, I'm like, well, I'll just try and get him the championship then.
Well, that's what we like to see, because it adds to the drama of this sort of championship. It's fantastic entertainment to watch. I mean, Ed and I love being up here in the commentary booth for it, and obviously broadcasting it as well when my internet isn't being an absolute cretin. That was the finest word I could say. But even still, Silas, it's great to still have you here with us in the series.
Thank
obviously
you.
Putting in great performances. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
You guys again. I mean, it's got to be the organisers of this event, and can I do the reverse of a shout out?
Yeah, sure.
If you may, because I want to do a reverse of a shout out to the guy who presented Crash Vomit to you, if I may. he needs to be non-shouted out. He needs to be dispersed off. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh God.
Hanged, if you will.
Well, the interviews are on fire this evening, and so are you, Silas.
Good luck trying to be professional. Yeah.
Always a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much for being a part of this, and best of luck at Suzuka.
Thank you too. Thank you.
Fantastic stuff, Ed. Lovely to speak to Silas. Another great character within the series. We've got and I say it a lot, and obviously I'm very biased because I have to, remain positive about everything here, but it's so easy to when you've got such a great group of people in the championship like this.
The Italian sunshine has got to these drivers' heads. What have we've been having to deal with in the comms booth? But yeah, like you say, it's been excellent sort of camaraderie and just excellent vibes, I think is the best way to put it, isn't it? The vibes have been just absolutely perfect here at Monza, but we have to quickly set our sights on the season finale in just a week's time. It'll be a showdown between Jake Cranston and Cam Dance for the title. It was a 16-point gap, and that's been chopped down into just 8 points now. Cam Dance has had a bit of a race to forget, but it's still his championship to secure. He needs to essentially, I think, finish in fifth place, and he secured the title.
And to put that into context as well, I mean, Jake Cranston will look at it tonight and know afterwards, obviously, he saw the incident, but the fact that Cam Dance has that spin on the first lap of the race and can still come through and finish fifth tonight, he knows that it's really going to take something. Jake needs to win the race if Cam is fifth as well, and if Jake obviously gets the pole position point in Japan, then Cam would need to finish in fourth place to score 9 points to then match him. So still, it's all absolutely wide open, but that's all for this evening from Monza, the virtual Autodromo Nazionale Monza, and all from Chaz Draycott Media and the Chaz Draycott Media Formula One World Championship by F1Countdown.com. Thanks as ever to the championship sponsors, Abruzzi Racewear, Sim Racing Magazine, and of course the support that we get from Gilles Gardner and Morgan Butler with their Simtography services. Thanks to all the drivers, all the viewers, everybody involved. Apologies again for my awful internet, which seems to have just had the one blip. Hopefully we didn't lose the actual stream on YouTube and it didn't start a new one. It seems like it was all okay. But thanks again, Ed. Always a pleasure to work with you. I'm looking forward to the final round of the season. Can't believe it's already come around. But as for now, I should say, from me, Chaz Draycott, and the wonderful Ed May, have yourselves a great evening, everybody. We'll see you for the finale in a week.
4 French drivers at the French Grand Prix trying to win this on the final lap. The 3 wide again, Guillaume down the inside. Guillaume moves across, they're both in front of Milan and Pouget.
But before you know it, we find ourselves here in the very final race of the competition.
And then they see truck racing and they think, this is crazy, these are 5-ton machines, 1200 horsepower brake. Oh, look at that switchback. Oh, you can look, and the drift to show off. it's gone. Senna Lanson tries to go for the race lead.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.